नमस्कार श्री खड़ग को करो सुहित चित लाए पूर्ण करो ग्रंथ एह तुम मोहे करो सहाय कृपा सिंध तुमरी कृपा जो कछ मो पर होए रचो चंडका की कथा बानी शुभ सब होए कहाँ बुध प्रभ तुच्छ हमारी बरन सकै महिमा जो तिहारी हम ना सकत कर सिफत तुम्हारी आप ले हो तुम कथा सुधारी हम ना सकत कर सिफत तुम्हारी आप ले हो तुम कथा सुधारी। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।
So Veerji, what is a Hukamnama?
Great way to get into it. So, as a Sikh, we are only Sikhs because we have a Guru.
Right.
Sikh, they say, comes from the Sanskrit word shish, which means some type of student, a learner, a follower. And I think we mentioned this last night, that a Sikh follows the path, and that's what Panth means. Today, we use the word Panth quite often, I think personally, without diving into the vichar of what the Panth means. Panth means the Guru's path. Then the follower of that Guru's path is the Panthi, the one who follows. So that's meant to be the Gursikh, the Chela, the Shish, the student. Now, the Guru's path for us can be subjective. What I mean by that is that yes, there is a very objective path that we all know of and we all follow, Amrit Vela, Nitnem, Simran. But then subjectively it changes in a Gursikh's life based on situations. Someone's going through a divorce, someone's getting married, someone's looking for a partner, someone's exiting a career, someone's joining a career. There's so many subjective scenarios that come. In those subjective scenarios, a Sikh needs to understand what is the Guru's path for me today, at this moment. For example, I saw that Apji as well, before we started this podcast, you were looking at a Hukamnama, right? For yourself. And I would do the same. I also did one as well. Because I want to know what the Guru is thinking about me now. What does the Guru want me to think about? What does the Guru feel about me now? What does Guru want me to feel about? Because I want to mold myself into the Guru. Bhai Gurdashi has this really beautiful var where they talk about what a Sikh is, right? They say, Murda huwa mareed, na galli hovana. What is a mareed? Mareed means sick, right? Just in the Farsi boli. And so it's just play of words, but they say that a murid is a dead body. Murda huwa mareed, na galli hovana. A shish, a Sikh, is that person who doesn't talk. What do they mean by here? Don't talk means that the ego doesn't talk. It's a dead body. And what's interesting is that in the same word they continue to say, just like a dead body, when you put inside a coffin, because they're looking from the Abrahamic kind of side of death.
You sure they mean don't do podcasts? Continue.
When a Sikh is placed, when that murid, when a dead body is placed in a coffin, what happens is that the dead body becomes the coffin over time. Right? It loses all of its existence down to his nails, which are the last bit. Everything kind of just disassembles and becomes dust, and then becomes one with the coffin. In the same way, a Sikh is meant to become dead, The ego is meant to die and become one with the Guru. Hukamnamas are those steps, those systematical courses that the Guru shares with us. So another angle I'm putting to the picture. One is a subjective, personal path that we take every single day. The Guru teaches us. Another one is that it's a course that it's playing out. We don't know it, but the Guru knows it.
Yes.
We think there's nothing systematical about this. But look back. If a Sikh takes Hukamnama for the last 5 years, look back, you'll see there's a course playing out. You'll see that there's a meaning to every single Hukamnama that you have received.
It's even in like seasons. Like you'll see that when you're going through something or your life is going through something and you're taking Hukamname, Maharaj tanu kise gal nu paros raha, like they're convincing you to take a certain path and to have a certain mindset. And until you don't achieve it, all the Hukamname are so similar. And as Maharaj, like you said, is like walking you on that path, and that starts to happen, the Hukamname begin to change. And I feel like the longer you communicate, it's a huge blessing to the Panth that we are able to talk to God at any given moment. And it's, I think one of the biggest weaknesses in anyone's life is a lack of guidance.
Yes.
Not having a father or mother over your head, not having a proper mentor. This is where a lot of conversations of privilege come from. And we're so privileged that Guru Gobind Singh Pacha, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, they gave us Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Dasan Pacha Jot. All 10 of them decided to come and sit inside of Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj and said, at any given moment, ask away.
Yeah.
Ask me what you want to ask me and I'll advise you exactly what you need. But the thing that hurts me is we've lost the knowledge that, well, my Guru is sitting right there. I can ask them at any time.
Yes. I think that's definitely the first step, is that we as a Sikh community have lost the understanding that we don't even know what the Guru's there for. The Guru's there for us. We're there for the Guru. If a child always thinks of their mom, who does the mom think of? The child.
Yeah.
It's a two-way connection. It's a two-way relationship. Gurbani, Maharaj says, Vaho Vaho Bani Nirankar hai. It's true that the highest form of Bani is Nirankar Swarup, which is all around us. But imagine, they took that Nirankar Swarup and preserved it in a physical Swarup, which we can see today.
Right.
Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj, speaking to Bhai Nanla Ji asked Maharaj a question. They said, Maharaj, what is your form? Tora roop ki hai? So I think just asking that question takes a lot of kamai.
Yeah.
A lot of spiritual, achievement, because Maharaj is sitting right in front of you. Why are you going to ask what roop is yours if you realize that this is not the only roop of Maharaj? And Guru Gobind Singh responds and says, Teen roop hai mohe ko, suno nandala chitalai. Hey Nandala, I have 3 forms. Nirgun, Sargun, and Gur Shabad. So they separated Gur Shabad from Nirgun and Sargun. And when I think about that, I think really hard about it, because as Pachariks, we cannot find everything in sticks. We cannot find any TK. We cannot just call up a Gyani saying, but like, all right, tell me the answer to this.
I do that all the time, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
I call you and I'm like, listen, I'm going to talk on this topic. What do I do next?
that is fair.
Yeah.
But a lot of things will be preserved under a seal because that is our systematical course with Maharaj, as Pachariks,
Yes.
We had to drill away trying to find answers. And when I think about this Nirgun, Sargun, Gur Shabad, I feel like Gur Shabad is separate because it's a different class of its own.
Yeah.
Sargun, Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj's physical Swarup, the Gur Sikh, Sargun. Nirgun, that Swarup, that Bharat Swarup that you cannot see, you can only experience. But Gur Shabad, that Swarup you can go, do matha take to, you could do parikrama around, you could hold your hands together and say, Maharaj, mainu upadesh baksho. Sache Pasha, main toda gareeb Sikh haan. I've been attacked by this world, Maharaj. I'm at your feet now. Main firt मैं हूँ तुहाडी शरण विच आया मैनू रख लो. And at that time, the Upadesh that Guru Sahib gives you, the Hukamnama, that blessed message that Maharaj gives you, you know, that will change someone's life if they can know that they can go to the Guru, like you said. B, if they can understand it. I think that brings me to the next point, is that how do you understand Hukamnama? I think the first step is reprogramming our brains. We look at Hukamnama and we don't read the Gurumukhi first of all, because most of us can't. We go straight to the English translations. And then based on the English translations, we think that we kind of judge, I think you were saying last night, either good, happy, bad, sad, or I don't know what they're saying.
Yes.
Do you have any experience on that?
No, I agree with you. I think that, okay, to understand why you're taking a Hukamnama, you have to understand your Guru. And so kind of what I was talking about last night is we've made our Guru into an 8-ball, right? Whether we know about Hukamnama or don't know about Hukamnama, we get mad at God when something bad happens and we get happy when something good happens. We treat God like it's some individual standing up in the clouds that, you know, is saying yes or no to our every wishes. Maharaj kende tu naam jap, I will make sure that anything that you want, anything that you desire, it's like a vada that's been given to us. But what we do is when we're going through something, when we have to make a decision, we, you know, take, whether it's, you know, the Hukamnama app or whether it's Guru Granth Sahib Ji, shake them up and say yes or no, maybe. And then a lot of the folks that will contact me, you know, they'll say, oh, I didn't ardas for school or work or a relationship or, you know, something going on in their life. What do you think? Like, what is Maharaj saying? And it's normally like very like, you know, straightforward. I mean, and you know, I contact you and we all contact each other. All the, you know, Sikhs contact one another and say, what do you think Guru Sahib is saying to me? But the thing is, like, after a while I realized, you know, sometimes it's not a yes or no. We're putting Maharaj into a corner and saying, give me a yes or no.
Yeah.
And Maharaj turns around and says, you know, you don't even know what you don't even know. You don't realize what I have planned for you, but I'm not going to allow those karam to come up into your life until a certain Naam Bani, Seva, Kirtan, and Maharaj will prescribe in the Hukamnama what it is that you need to do. Okay. And sometimes Hukamnama come really strict and you think to yourself, man, you know, like, what does this mean? So, you know, before the recording, I was thinking about, you know, like what kind of Hukamnama have I received or have people received where it seems like Maharaj dant raha hai. Maharaj is saying like, you've done a bad job or something like that, but that's not really the case. And so I think like before we get to like the art, there's a baseline philosophy that we have to understand. And that is, we think about Akal Purakh and our relationship with them as there's Maharaj and there's me. What we really need to see is that there is the journey of the self going into the Atma, and there's the Man. And the Man is such a beast that it's going to indulge in Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Hankar. And as it's doing those things, like, listen, me and you and any other Sikh, we always tell ourselves, tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up at Amrit Villa and I'm going to do my Bhakti. Or I want to start doing a Sukhmani Sahib a day. I want to start my Sajpat and I want to do at least 10, 15 angs. Yeah. It's there. The Ichha is there. But as soon as we get to it, something is going on with the man. It's too cold. They don't want to get out of the chadar, you know, at Amrit Villa or the Sajpat. You're like, oh, I've had a long day at work today. I don't know if I want to sit down and read. Something always comes up. It is only with Gur Prasad that you can even interact with Barney. Yeah. No matter how much the man says. Yeah. So would the Guru in their Hukamnama not want to wake your man up? Would Maharaj not want to show you that, listen, your mind is going to play these games on you, but I'm going to show you what's out there. And what ends up happening is we look at these Hukamname and we go, my Guru is mad with me. I'm not a good Sikh. I don't want to take a Hukamnama anymore. I'm afraid of of going into the Gurdwara because I know I've been a sinner. Once I get myself together, I start doing the right amount of Naam Simran, then I'll go back to Maharaj. We think that we can fix ourselves and then we will be worthy of taking a Hukamnama or of Gurbani. It is actually Gurbani and Hukamnama that make us worthy. So we are trying to clean ourselves without water and saying water is so pavitr that I don't want to make the water dirty by stepping in it. But it's the water that's going to clean you.
Exactly.
And there's beautiful shabad by Guru Tegh Bahadur Pacha that actually goes through describing exactly what the man is. And then Maharaj gives the ailment. They give the cure, right? So Maharaj goes, very short shabad. Ik oankar Satgur Prasad, Rag Devgandhari Mahalla Noma. Yeh man nek na kaheo kare. Yeh man, my mind, nek na kaheo kare. Every time I tell it to do something good, anytime I give it advice, it doesn't listen. Sikh sikhaye raheo apni, si durmat te na tare. Rahao. I'm so tired of giving my mind instructions, it doesn't refrain from taking part in evil things. I mean, this comes with everything, especially with Naam, Bani, and like the Gursikh Rasta, but it definitely comes even with like exercise, good diet, any type of lifestyle change. Mad Maya ke peo bavaro, har jas nehe uchre. It's gone insane. Maya de rangan de vich pa ke. Convinced with the illusion that's around it, it's intoxicated and it doesn't do anything to praise a Maharaj. Kar par panch jagat ko tehke apno udar pare. It practices deceit, it cheats the world, and by doing it, it feels satisfied. It feels satisfied doing, oh, I don't have time for Netanim today. I have to go to work because it's going to feed me. I don't have time for that because I want to go out with my friends tonight. We're so stuck in our world that we'll do whatever is going to satisfy our minds, but not what will satisfy our Guru. So then Maharaj says, listen, Swan pooch jo hoye. Same way, swan is a kutta, pooch is the tail of a dog, jo hoye. The same way that a dog's tail, na sudo kehyo na kaan tare. In the same way that you can't straighten out a dog's tail and keep it straight, my mind won't listen to what I tell it no matter how much I try. Right. So what does Maharaj tell us here? It's your nature. It's the nature of the mind. Because you yourself are made up of different components. There's the mind, there's the chit, there's the buddha, there's the hankar. But we barely start discovering Sikhi and we jump to these large conclusions of I'm worthless, I'm useless, and we fall into guilt. Maharaj says, listen, no need to be guilt ridden. Kaho Nanak, Paj Ram Nam Nit Jake Kaj Sare. So they go through this entire their Bani and they say, Kuch nahi ho sakda. But in the end, they go, Kaho Nanak, ki Nanak bol raha hai, Paj Ram Nam. Okay, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru de naam te tusi focus karo. And what will happen? Nit jaake, Vaheguru, nit jate kaj sare. All of our affairs will be solved. The Guru has literally handed us everything. And what happens to us is we fall into guilt. We fall into, I'm not good enough for Barney. I'm not good enough for being a Gursikh. I'm not good enough to wear a Bana. Which again, it's great when it's coming from a place of humility, but it's harmful when it's coming from a place of actually feeling worthless to a point of detriment. And so I feel that, I don't know if you've seen a lot of this, but I've seen a lot of people afraid of taking a Hukamnama because they're afraid that Maharaj will yell at them. And then it does a number on their mental health because the gyan isn't there of no tera kiya meetha lage. Even if you yell at me, oh minu mithai lagna hai. But we don't know how. Onu mitha kidda samjhna kidda. How do you recognize that it's good? Like imagine if this Hukamnama had been given and the one that we just read now, would a person fall into Maharaj ne mainu kutte di poocha kya? Right? Or would it fall into wait a minute. Maharaj just told me ki hum sar deen dayal na tum sar. Ab pati yaar kya kijiye.
It has to be a journey forward to that point. We can't expect what often I would see is that a Sikh, when they first interact with Hukamnama, depending on where they are in their spiritual jivan, the Hukamnama will affect them differently. When it does take a play on their mental health, you can say, right? Well, there's two things in play here. You know, what mental health really is to preserve the ego. I mean, like, that's what I've understood to be. Yes, it is health and related, and we all go through it. I have my downs as well. Like, I'm not saying that depression doesn't exist, anxiety doesn't exist.
No, absolutely. There's chemical imbalances. There's medicine for that. Absolutely. Yeah. But beyond that, on a day-to-day, anxieties and depressions.
Thank you. On that level, you know, when the Hukamnama speaks to us like in that way, if we are not able to connect with the Hukamnama, besides getting the gyan from a Guru Sikh, our fellow brother or sister, to explain what Maharaj is saying, if that still is causing pain, know that to be good pain. That's the way I would look at it. I will only say that now after being through it myself. You know, I could look back in retrospect and be like, that was good pain. Why? Because now, when I reach the Hukamnama, I know that Maharaj is like, danda lake khade hoye ya. They're like, Sikha ki karda hai na? And then I'm like, Satvache Maharaj, galti hogi. Baksha do. Meri galti. So you know right away, you're wrong. But in the beginning, you don't know. Because you haven't developed that relationship with Maharaj.
You know, and living in the West, we've kind of taken on a culture of even not listening to our parents, right? Not listening to anyone older, because we're like, you're infringing on my freedoms.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas to understand the relationship between a Sikh and a Guru, it's not, I get to be your Sikh and I receive all the goodies that you give me. Right? It's not just that. It's not just the giver's going to keep giving and I'm going to get tired of receiving, and look how cool our relationship is. It becomes more like a parent scolding a child and saying, if you don't walk on my path, outside of this path, like in a lot of places in Barney, you'll read like, you'll be boiled alive, you'll be beaten, you'll be dragged from the hair, you know, Jamdut will come and get you. And that's when you're like, oh my God, why is the Guru saying this to me, right? But instead of seeing it that way, I think like, if we saw it as, look, my parent is telling me, if you don't follow the rules of this house, if I kick you out of this house, out there's gangsters, there's robbers, there's Chor and Daku that will come and get you.
Yeah.
See it that way.
Yeah.
I'm still in the house because you're still speaking to me, Guru Sahib.
Yeah.
And so because that's the case, whatever you're telling me to do, I better go and do it.
Yeah.
With Sangat, however it's possible. And then even do Benti, I don't know how to follow this, but you help me follow it.
Yeah.
Just the glory of having Guru Sahib holding your arm, and even if they scold you, saying, Guru Sahib, it's on you, save me. I think that is a dynamic that I'm hoping in this conversation that our Mans and anybody listening is able to know that your Guru's right there, but you have to take the step. I have to take the step to speak to them, go into their sharan, go into their sanctuary, fall at their feet and say, Maharaj, hum nirgune aare ko gun nahi, aape tars pe hoi. Jo tars hogi, tars pe aa mehramat hoi. Satgur sajjan milya. And when tusi jadon mere te tas karonge, then I will receive you as a best friend.
Vaheguru.
I will receive you as my lover.
Vaheguru.
Right? And each Sikh has the access for that.
Ji.
But we do spend a lot of time afraid of Maharaj.
I want to bring it back to the point you started off with. In the West, we have this perception that, you know, if someone older, wiser, you know, is telling us to do something, is infringing in our freedom, like you were saying, right? And I really agree that in the Western sphere, we have this mentality now that often people say that, why do I have to respect the Guru? What do I need to, why does he need it? Right. Why does he need, okay, let's say the Guru is a big word there, right? Let's say like an ustad, a teacher. Why does a teacher need that respect? Are they ego hungry? No. what we don't understand is that respect that we're giving to someone elder, someone wiser, the guru, ustad, teacher, is not for them, it's for us. It's for us. The more we become minimal, the more we say, okay, you're everything to me, the more the way you're speaking, right? The guru's heart fills up, the ustad's heart fills up, the teacher's heart fills up for just happiness for that student. You know, they have something in their hands, whether that be experience, years of knowledge, you know, spirituality, whatever that may be. You know, I'm talking about like a physical teacher, normal teacher it could be, to a spiritual ustad, to the guru. They carry something that we do not carry, you know. When we come into their sharan, you know, who knows how much things they are giving to us, how much ardasa they'll do for us that we just cannot imagine.
Yeah. And before, you know, like any listeners at home take it the wrong way, if there is like an ustad or a teacher that is abusive or that is like not listening and things like that, of course, you know, there's nuances to this statement, but overall valuing knowledge. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, my parents, the way they would treat books was nothing how we would at school. I remember at school one day, I was in elementary school, we figured out that we could take the textbooks, put them on the carpet, put our feet on them and use them as skates.
Oh.
And so I came home and I did that. Oh my God. My mom grabbed my shirt immediately, pulled me to the side and was like, this is vidya, this is knowledge. You do not put your feet on knowledge.
Yeah.
And she picked it up and she put it to her forehead, a science book.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? She was like, Kitaban diyan, on books and knowledge, you must always respect them.
Yeah.
Respect the books, respect the knowledge, respect the person that teaches you that knowledge.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in class and having like a lot of the, you know, I was the only Sikh kid there. But Baki, they were like making noise and like playing around. But I was like sitting there like, this is an ustad. Like I have to give them respect, you know? And honestly, I feel I'm better off for it. But as I've learned about Sikhi, coming into it recently, the more, to your point, the more respect that I feel like I give an ustad to any teacher, a spiritual guide, anybody, they go like a million miles more for you. Like the prem that a Gursikh has, whenever they're given prem, they turn around, you give them a rice worth, they try to give you a mountain's worth.
Vaheguru.
And that's when you start meeting real Gursikhs, real ustads. And your guru is as real as they come. So learning to respect your guru and not, it's okay to question like we were saying, but question to learn, not question to challenge. There's a difference. So to your point, I've even heard people say, why does God need us to repeat his name? Why do we need to say Vaheguru, Vaheguru? You know, why does he have such a need for us to do that? Why should I be bound by the Guru's cage? What do you say to that?
Well, if you don't get bounded to the Guru's cage, whose cage will you be bounded to? You'll be bounded to, someone said, no, I'm a free guy, I'm a free man, I do whatever I want. No, you're not free. You're bounded by your ego. At the end of the day, none of us are free. We're bounded by someone, something sitting deep inside that's been there for eons, for janams and janams, for lifetime on top of lifetime. You know, it's been sitting there like a monster. Because of that monster, we have to keep coming back over and over and we praise that monster. We put him on a high stool. You say, look at me. Look how amazing I am. Look at the vidya I know. Look at the Raag Kirtan I can do. Look at the science I know. Look at the engineer I am. We put that monster on top and say, that's me. But that's not me. That is the cause of all the diseases and, you know, violence and wars and hatred and everything that's been on in our humanity, in humanity.
It's what attracts the depression, the anxiety, the pain of life. Dukh sukh, dohe kapde.
Dohe kapde.
These are the two clothes that you put on. Because you have me sitting there, you're either dressing them up in happiness or dressing them up in pain. Yeah. And I feel like a regular life, you know, you go through your happiness and you're up top, and then you fall down to the bottom when you're in pain, and then you rise up again and you fall down again. And I feel like the Guru's Rasta, when you fall at the Guru's Sharan, and when Maharaj is giving you these Hukamnama, they're teaching you how to center out. How to see dukh and sukh equivalently. How instead of chasing happiness or pain, you are now chasing peace. Sada Anand. Such a peace where you're always happy, you're always in Chardi Kala. And so these Hukamname, back to what we were talking about, they're very difficult to understand because, just to kind of summarize, one, you have to limit your ego. And the only way to do that is by falling at the feet of the Guru and learning about Naam Simran, about Gyan. Gyan as in learning the vidya that it takes of understanding what Maharaj is even saying. How's the game set up? What is Sikhi even saying? Not just by reading a couple of lines, Banaski Jat Sab Eko Hai Pachanabo. And, we kind of love putting that on banners and saying, just see all human race as one. And then there's like this flyer that's going around that says, it's like a quote from Guru Nanak Dev Ji that says, don't be a Hindu, don't be a Muslim, be a human first.
Oh.
It was never said. You and I both know that. You can go through Gurbani.
Yeah.
If you even know the theme of Gurbani, then you would know that Guru Nanak Dev Ji would never say that.
Yeah. I get the bhavna they're coming from. Their bhavna is that like Maharaj is like Taram, Maharaj is Rasta, is all about humanity, right? It's all about insaniyat. I can vouch for that to say that, what is Sikhi? Sikhi is humanity. Sikhi is insaniyat, right? But to put it into like a few lines and be like Guru Nanak Dev Ji said these exact lines, that wouldn't be correct necessarily, And I think that takes away from the larger message of Sikhi. It kind of like it trying to strips it away from a deeper message and deeper values by putting something that someone else wrote and saying that the Guru wrote it. It's impersonating the Guru in a way, right?
Yeah, it's identity theft. It's identity theft. I pulled up by Gurdas Ji the Amara, and on the 33rd Vad they have a discussion with the Qazis. And in that discussion, they ask Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they say, Poochen fol kitab no Hindu vadda ke Musalman ne hoy. Musalman hoy. So they ask Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they say, what's bigger, a Hindu or a Muslim? What does your book say?
Yeah.
Because they're assuming that he's learning from somewhere. Baba aakhe. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji replies, Hajiya, sub amla bajo dono roy. What does that mean?
To me?
Yeah.
Well, when Guru Nanak Dev Ji mean the Hajiya, the one main thing to understand is the context of that shabad, because it's like a bunch of yatris getting together from the Western countries. They'd be like, let's go to Amritsar, yatra karne jaiye. It's such a huge aspiration for us. We're probably living our whole life waiting for this moment. We all got a month off to go to India, go together as brothers and sisters to do darshan. It's so beautiful, right? And then along the way you meet Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Right. And that's like, I'm gonna pop the bubble here kind of thing, because we're going, although it's very beautiful and everything's there, but sometimes, this might not apply to everyone, but sometimes the ego is still being there, like as the bad boy, sitting somewhere deep within us. That after we do the yatra, we were like, we went to Amritsar, we got all our paps removed, you didn't, like kind of like, so I think maybe Guru Sahib is speaking to them from that kind of angle. So when they ask Maharaj, like, they see that, like, Bhai Gadashi describes Guru Nanak Dev Ji as having a poti in this area over here, and having a asa in their hand, a stick in their hand, that's how Maharaj is walking. And so they're looking at the poti and they're like, what's in your book? Tell us who will get through, Muslim or Hindu. And see, again, that's the ego that's asking that question.
Yes,
it's not the question like by Nanla Ji asks about what's your roop. That's not an ego. That's outside of ego, right? Or that's on the verge of merging with the divine. Like that question is a question that one would ask on the verge of merging with the divine, or either merged already and asking for us. But this question, what the Muslims get in or the Hindus get in, is totally in ignorance. It's totally in Hankar, totally in Home, right? Yeah. It's like a Sikh, going on the yatra of Harsimranjit and missing the point. You know, the four doors are representing everyone. And so it's like them. So many years have passed, like 1,000, 2,000 years have passed for the Makkah to be built and a Hajj to be going on, traditional Hajj to be going on, and they've lost the point of humanity. They just think it's Islam only. And Christians think it's a Christian only, right? And so that question is just acts from that point of view, you know. And the Guru Sahib saying, you know, Shubh Amla Bajo Dono Roi kind of thing is Amal literally means Rat. It literally means Kardar. It means character, you know. How is your character? How do you maintain yourself from day to day, you know? Shubh, pure, you know. Pure means Khalsa. Is your rat like the Khalsa? You know, I think that Guru is kind of like hinting at there, right? I mean, the Shubh Amal could literally mean like Khalsa rat for a Sikh today, you know. Dono Roi. Without the character, without the characteristics, without the path, walking on the path of pureness, we will both cry, you know. So it doesn't just only, sometimes like I think we transitions maybe, or sometimes we say that it just means good actions. It's a lot more than that, I would say.
And so that's exactly it, right? So we talked about this poster, and then we talked about this conversation in the Qazis. The English translation of that will just be, oh, it's good actions. So then we take a English translations, we pull the moral of Gurbani out of Bhai Gurdas Ji di Anwara, and we water it down to, it doesn't matter if you're a Hindu or Muslim, it just matters that your actions are good. Even though it missed the entire context of what was actually being said. It also missed the real definition of what Barney is saying. You know, that's like saying the translation of Ik Oon God is one God. That's not true. It's so much deeper. There's so much more nuances into it. And I think that's what you were about to jump into earlier. And I'd love to hear about that. Is oftentimes the reason we also feel so terrified of Hukamnama is because, one, the philosophy of Gurbani we're taking from English translations. And then number two, the answers of Hukamnama we're taking from, okay, this is what Guru Sahib is saying. And sometimes I don't have examples in front of me right now, but sometimes I've even read Hukamnama where I look at the English definition and I go, yeah, that's not what that's saying at all. Like this is incorrect. And then I have to open up the other DK to figure out what Maharaj is saying.
I think what it is that Gurbani is not meant to be an ancient or alien language. It has become like that to us now because we don't put the time and effort to take that course, learn the vocabulary, the different accents, the different dialects. We just don't invest into it, basically. Right. Without investing into something, you'll never get the true value of what it is. You know, whether that's Gurbani, whether it's something else, right? You have to invest your time and energy into it. That's the only way it can give back to you. It could give fruits to you. When we look at Gurbani, it's the same procedure. When Guru Sahib wrote those shabads directed to whoever they're talking to, is speaking to a language that those people would have understood. You know, for example, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, because we were talking about the Hajj, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, when they go to Arab Desh, Arabia, and they go to Makkah, which is a city which has the Kaaba within that city. So Makkah is a city, and it has the place of pilgrimage that all the Muslims go to, right, to do Hajj, the Kaaba. When they went to the Kaaba, Guru Sahib said a shabad that they would understand. You know, the shabad was Yak arz guftam pesh to dargos kun kartar hakka pakka kapir tu beab parvatkar. The word ab comes there. Beab. Vaheguru Ji's beab, right? Dunya mukam mein fani tehqiq dil dani. So they go on. But the thing is that we would understand the shabad today because we haven't invested our time to learn Farsi Arabi, right? Now, a Sikh has a really big responsibility. On top of the Pracharaks have a huge responsibility. What it is that Guru Sahib was speaking to one person at that time, or a group of individuals from one background, and then another Shabad they're speaking to, let's say, Marathi, right? Or they're speaking Landi Punjabi. They're speaking so many different languages, so different people. The Pracharak today, the Sikh today has to learn all those different languages. On top of that, the different contexts, the situation, political settings as well, economical settings at that time period to understand what the Hukamnama is.
Right.
So much goes into it. But like you were saying, we just shake the ball and we're like, give me an answer.
We say, yes or no.
Yes or no.
Is this the boy I should marry? Is this the girl I should be with? Yes or no. Should I take this job? Yes or no. That's how we press Guru Sahib.
That's how we press Guru Sahib.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, you know, I don't want to fully bash that either. Because I know I was there.
100%. Same.
And I know that helped me through my college life. It helped me pick the right person in my life, you know.
Me and you were talking, like, even if we're going to go on, like, vacation, we're like, Maharaj.
Yeah. Maharaj, because we're going in, if I want to go somewhere, whether that be for work or vacation, I want to ask Maharaj, this is in your hukam. Is this something you would like me to do?
Yeah.
You know, if you like me to go on vacation, cool. If you don't want me, you're okay. You're my boss.
Agreed. So that perspective is one thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay to ask Maharaj everything.
Yeah.
But it's when you go with the expectation that if you don't answer in the way that I want it, then I'm going to be heartbroken and guilt-ridden, and I'm going to miss the message.
Yeah.
Right? Like you said, you're my malak. If it's no, then it's no. There's no problem. I'm someone that loves business ideas. You know, I could sit there like chalkboarding a bunch of ideas, and I remember like I got really hyped on this idea once. And I like put in the work, I drafted a business plan, and I like put it all together. I even made phone calls of, yo, I'm thinking about launching this. What do you think? All right, let's do it. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I didn't take a Hukamnama from Maharaj. Let me just take a Hukamnama from Maharaj. Oh my God. Bro, I took a Hukamnama and each tuk was bashing me on greed. Each tuk. And I was like, okay, I guess we're not doing this business. And I was like, oh, but why, Maharaj? Like, I could have helped people and made me money, right? Yeah. And so I know exactly what you're talking about, you know? So I read through that Hukamnama and I was like, oh yeah, God, no. Like, this is not happening. You know, Maharaj does not want us to go this way. This, you know, I'm spending too much time focused on Maya. I need to focus on Nam Simran. I need to drop what I'm doing. Right? And so it's like having a guide sit inside of you and go, I know where you're really thinking from. You don't even know where you're thinking from.
Yeah. So
drop this and focus on this instead. Yeah. And what this normally ends up being is an array of seva, Nam, Bani, Sangat, Santan di Seva, you know, something along those lines. So that's what's unique about Sikhi, right? So although, you know, we keep bringing up this 8-ball reference, on a level, it is Maharaj when they give their guidance that you recognize, you know what, this is all going to work out. You know, I was really nervous about my wedding, and I took a Hukamnama, and Maharaj was like, so the following day, there was a bunch of Guru Sikhs that were coming. And Maharaj was like, the Guru Sikhs are going to come and all your karma are going to go away. Anything you're worried about. And so all of a sudden, you know, I was more excited about the Guru Sikhs showing up. And the anxieties of getting married and all that type of stuff went away. So it was like, it's like Maharaj holds you in their arms like a baby. And tells you like, oh, look at this toy, look at this instead, like focus on this, you know? And it's like having God be your therapist and guide you through life. So yeah, on a level, you know, there is a lot of conversations that I have just between the Guru and I. If I've had a long day at work, I'll go straight to the Gurdwara. I'm just like, Maharaj, I'm in your sharan. I don't even know what to ask for, but I'm feeling so beat up. You know, what are some of the things that you've, like, some experiences with Hukamnama?
Well, in the beginning, they were quite like you would say, you know, like well, I think I had this sanskar in me that even if I would ask for something crazy and Maharaj would say no to it, that I would be like, all right, they know best.
Yeah.
And like, to be honest, like there will be some things that I'll, like, you know, come at it. My ego wasn't fully broken. It's not broken now either, but like at that time it was just getting into it, you know. So 6-7 months later, I'll like, let's see if this is something I can explore, right? I can't explore it before. Let me see if I can explore it now. And so sometimes I did bypass the Hukamnama. You know, Mara said don't do it. I still did it a few months later, you know, kind of thing. Waited for the feelings to go away and just kind of I winged it. And the nitija, the result was always bad. You know, the result. But I learned so much from that. I think that's the only reason I have so much faith in Hukamnama now. is because I've rebelled in some, like a kid does rebel against their parents, right?
Yeah.
And when they fall, they learn, and they're just like, you know what, my parents were right.
Punjabi ch kahavat hai ki machhi patthar chat ke mord diya. Which means you can't convince a fish that there's land ahead until it hits its head on that rock, and then it goes back. And that's us kids. You know, we do rebel, we do go against like Hukamnama and things like that, but then we learn. For me, it's been the opposite.
Okay.
I was so scared to rebel, but then I'd be like, there's no way. There's no way things are going to work out. You keep saying things are going to work out. There's no way. Right? And then I watch things unfold, and because I'm someone that overthinks.
Okay.
Right? You give me a problem and I start thinking about like 100 different outcomes.
Yeah.
Right? And I start getting afraid of that, or, you know, start trying to figure out solutions for it. And so when a Hukamnama comes, I start sitting there and I start going, how are you going to solve this? There's no way. Right? And, there, especially Hukamnama where Maharaj goes, sit back and do nothing. Those are the hardest.
Yeah.
Because the world will keep telling you, why aren't you doing anything about this? Go do something.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm sorry, my guru told me to sit back and not do anything. So this is what I'm going to be doing now.
For me, like one of the biggest ones, the biggest struggles we had was for marriage. You know, like me and Singh, we knew each other about 3 years before we got married, and for us it was Hukamnama and I return. You know, Hukamnama when our parents introduced the thoughts. Hukamnama when the parents started backing out because of caste. Hukamnama when we didn't know what to do. You know, like, do we hold on to this? Do we not hold on to it? What do we do? We're stuck in the middle now. And there was many times when Maharaj was like, wait, just wait, you know. And it tested us to the point, like to the brink of death. Like, it was just like you're barely holding on. You don't know what to do anymore. It's, you know, years are going, weeks are turning to months, months turn to years. And we're just waiting. We're waiting for a miracle to happen, you know. And when that miracle does happen, though, it's just like, wow, like
it's mind blowing.
Those 3 years were the hardest 3 years in my life, Richie. I know that. That was the hardest. But I came out of there, knock on wood, like as a son, quote unquote, like you know, like like I'm like, all right, that's it. I don't know if anything else can like again, knock on wood, Maharaj Bakshalo. Maharaj probably watching this podcast, like I got something coming for this guy. You know? But like it just feels like after you come out of that, you come out as a warrior. You know, like Maharaj just broke you down, and little did you know he's building a mansion. You know, he's breaking out a chompadi. You think your chompadi is so nice and it's warm, and he's like, I got something better for you. You know,
and I got to build you into it. So all of a sudden, those years of like saying, "Oh my God, like, where's my guru?"
Yeah.
Right. Through these Hukamnama, Maharaj is telling you what to do. Yeah. And on the other end of it, when you see it all happen, you go, "Oh my God, you're actually not just a book."
Yeah.
You're a Jagdi Jyot. And I say this often. I go, you know, it's really funny. People will go, I wish I could have seen, you know, the gurus when they were actually here, not just their writing. I'm like, Guru Sahib's actually here, right? Like, you have to understand though, Guru Hargobind Pacha was 12 when he got on stage, not on stage, but like in front of the entire Sangat.
Yeah.
And he said, from now on, I only want Kode and Shastras. I'm going to put a ring through Chandu's nose and I'm going to drag him through the streets of Lahore. Yeah. He was 12 when he said that. And the Sangat there was like, I think we may have made the wrong guru. Right? They're going to Mataji and they're saying, it's a kid. Right? You've got Guru Harkrishan Pacha, a kid. You've got Guru Gobind Singh Ji, a child again. Yeah. Over and over again, Pathshahiyan are given to such in such a way where everybody else goes, this can't be the Guru. Yeah. How can I listen to a kid? Yeah. How can I listen to a teenager? Yeah. And then Guru Gobind Singh Ji, after Chamkaur Di Gadi, after Machiwada Jungle, you get Sangatan saying things like, Jeda, the guy that couldn't handle his own kingdom, you think he's going to give us mukti?
Vaheguru.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now the test in front of us is, Maharaj said, okay, I've said what I needed to say.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and take the roop of a Granth. The same way before I took the roop of a Purush, of a person. Now I'm going to take the roop of a Granth, and let's see how many of you think I am just a book, and how many of you realize I'm the Jagdi Jot. I'm sitting right there. Ang Sang Sahai. And at any point I can speak with you. I can have a conversation with you. Right? And obviously we have Shri Dasam Granth and we have Shri Sarblo Granth as well. But to put it into less words, there was somebody that wrote a book to Sant Jarnail Singh Ji about why Dasam Granth is not Gurbani, is not Guru Gobind Singh Ji's Gurbani, and handed it to Sant Jarnail Singh Ji. And Sant Jarnail Singh Ji read through the book, and in the end, he flipped to the back cover and he wrote down, Surbir Yodhyan da Granth, Bujdil Kair Kadi Nahi Jaan Sakde. A warrior's Granth can never be understood by someone that is a coward. Signed it and handed it back. And so yeah, you know, at places like Hazur Sahib and Patna Sahib, and we can go into this on a different talk, they take Hukamnama out of Shri Dasam Granth as well.
Yeah.
Right? And that's more of a hukum to a warrior. Right? The Khalsa. But Guru Granth Sahib Ji is open for everyone. I had a Catholic friend of mine, when I told him what Hukamname are, he goes, can I take one? You're telling me I can speak to God? And I goes, yeah. Guru Granth Sahib Ji is not just for Sikhs. It's for the entire... Maharaj is there for the... Maharaj, the King of Kings. God. It's God sitting there. God isn't the Sikhs. God belongs to everyone. Right? So I was like, of course, man. Like, I'll teach you how to take a Hukamnama. Let's go do it. He takes the Hukamnama, bro. He breaks down into tears.
Wow.
He goes, this is exactly what I was looking for.
Kya baat.
Obviously, he stayed a Catholic, which is good. A Sikh isn't trying to convert anybody. But he found the answer he was looking for. He said he felt like it was exactly what he needed to hear about his relationship with Jesus. That's a Hukamnama, man. That's Guru Sahib having a conversation with you at any given moment. So as we wrap up, how do you take a Hukamnama? How should you take a Hukamnama? What is the proper steps? Washing your hands, the maryada behind it, all that kind of stuff. Because obviously you want to be respectful of Guru Granth Sahib Pacha as well. You don't want to like be taking your socks off, have your hands dirty, and walk up there with, you know.
Yeah.
So what's a proper way of taking a Hukamnama?
Traditionally, you know, the rat or the procedure that we have in place is that a Sikh will ideally go to a Granthi Singh and be like, I want to take a Hukamnama. You know, can you please do and this is saying that if the Sikh is a Gristi, doesn't really know much about how to do Ardas, how to read Gurbani, they can have an intermedium there, you know. And the Granthi Singh will do the Ardas for the Sikh, get on Tabir, read the Hukamnama, and then hopefully explain the Hukamnama to the Sikh as well. So that's for someone, let's say, who's stepping to Gurdwara for a first time maybe, or on a Sunday, or like they don't know much, right? Right. For someone who knows to do Ardas, who knows to read Gurmukhi, who knows how to maybe even pull up the Gurmukhi on their phone, they can do it themselves. You know, if they have Marji Sroop at home, whereas a Pothi, a Panch Granthi, a Das, you know, we have history to back this up, that a Sikh would take a Hukamnama from any Pothi they had. For example, Paitaro Singh Ji in Panth Prakash is written, when they're going to, they're making a plan with the little Singhs that they have, a few Singhs they had, were to either leave the chase that the enemy was after them. Either they'll leave that chase, come back to fight another day, or they'll fight now and give Shahidiya now. Okay? And Paitaro Singh says in history that they had a Das Granthi in their Kamar Kasa. Das Granthi is Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj's Gurbani, right? They took up the Das Granthi in the first shabad they read. You know, that was like, go to the battlefield and juj ke shidi pao.
Vaheguru.
You know?
Wow.
You know, and so they took that as a Hukamnama. They're like, alright, Singh, we're not going home. Talwara kaddiyan and juj ke, hai na? Soon mein shidiyan paiyan unhone. So say that, so at that level of spear, if you can read Gurmukhi, you can hopefully understand it, or you can pull it up on your phone. Then if you have a Pothi at home, you know, a decent sized Pothi, maybe the first bag of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, like the first half, you can say, right? Or Guru Granth Sahib Ji themselves, or if you don't have anything, going to the Gurdwara. Again, that's another traditional path of taking Hukamnama.
Yes.
Today, we have a lot of apps as well. For example, SikhNet as the Hukamnama app that I personally use, because sometimes you're in situations where you might not be, like, on the road. As Prachaliks, we're on the road a lot, right? We might not have the convenience of taking traditional Hukamnama. Yes. So what Das does, and this is not traditional, so it's not something that we can I can say that this is 100% you do it. It's up to you if you find this method approachable. I personally do, and this is how I've interacted with Hukamnama for the majority of my life, is on the phone, do ardas, ardas karke Maharaj Sache Pasha, this is my question, this is my situation, tusi kripa karo, tusi jani jano, right? I'm not gonna give Maharaj I try not to give Maharaj a scenario like, should I not, is this or is this not. Sometimes that does happen, but often I'll be like, Maharaj, tusi jaan deo, kripa karo, hai na? And so whatever the Hukamnama comes, I'll tend to look for signs. For example, I'll give you a simple situation, right? There's a Kirtan program happening, there's a Katha program happening, right? If I'll see Kirtan in the Hukamnama, I'll go to the Kirtan program. I see Katha in the Hukamnama, I'll go to the Katha program. Like, and just give me a very simple example. Probably never happened in my life, but just kind of like, So I think that'll be the procedure on doing a non-traditional Hukamnama in the modern era.
Okay. I also want to add on to that. I think that if you are at the Gurdwara, having done Ishnan that morning, like if you're going to go and take a Hukamnama on Maharaj Tabya,
Sure.
take an Ishnan, wash your case, sit down. When you sit down, make sure you're wearing a Hazuria, your hands are washed, right? And obviously, you do an Ardas. After doing the Ardas to Maharaj, then you go. And when you're going to take the Hukamnama, if Maharaj is already Prakash, you take Maharaj's angs from both sides. And then when you come out for the Hukamnama, Maharaj will obviously open up to the ang that they wanted to open up on. If it's the morning time, then the top left, correct? And if it's the evening time, then the bottom right. So wherever the shabad begins, multiple times a good way to find a shabad is where there's multiple numbers listed behind a pankti is the hukam. That's where the hukam is ending. Now, if you're new to this, then I think like what I would recommend is getting to like a camp. I think the camps that we do, especially the home camps, imploring every single attendee to take a Hukamnama has always been a hit. Everybody loves that because it's their first time being able to actually sit with Guru Granth Sahib Ji and have a one-on-one conversation. So I think the more that we do that kind of stuff, the more Sangat will get to talk to Maharaj. But yeah, even myself, I personally use the personal Hukamnama app. And I think you brought up something very interesting, which is now that you've taken it, now that you've understood what it means to take a Hukamnama, how to take a Hukamnama, the means that you can use to Hukamnama, how do you follow a Hukamnama? And I think the first thing that I like to do is a benti to Maharaj. Hukamnama vi tusi baksha, you're the one that gave me the Hukamnama, now please show me the path to follow it.
Vaheguru.
A good friend of mine, Singh, he always says, if Maharaj says listen to Kirtan, listen to it now. If it's Seva, go to the Gurdwara now. And that's something I picked up from him where, it's not like one of those afterthoughts. Like if Maharaj says Nam Japo, it's not like, yeah, you know what? I do need to add more Nam Simran into my life. No, right now, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru. Don't delay.
Yeah.
Don't delay. Maharaj says listen to more Kirtan. Cool. Throw on an AirPod, open up SoundCloud, find your Fire Rag Kirtan playlist and hit shuffle and start listening.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where when Maharaj does give a hukam, I think for me, with the good Sikhs that I've had in my life that have, shown me, what needs to happen, it's always been do ardas ki Maharaj Hukamname de chalan di daat aap baksho. Number 2, follow exactly what Maharaj is saying immediately without thinking about what it means, right? And then number 3, as you go about your days, I found this helpful. Keep opening that Hukamnama back up. Keep reading it. Think about what it means. What does it mean for your life? How are things unfolding? Because sometimes Maharaj tells you the future. And as the future is happening and you read the Hukamnama, you're like, oh, that was meant for this moment. Now I need to do this. Right? And that's the cool thing about talking to God is you have access to past, present, and future. What do you think? Understanding, walking on the Hukamnama.
I think it's beautiful. I will also add into there that sometimes that words like Nam Gurbani, Kirtan, Katha, they're very universally applied. They can be universally applied. For example, Katha can mean Kirtan and Kirtan can mean Katha. That makes sense?
It's a good one, yeah.
Seva can mean Jap and Jap can be Seva. Because at the end of the day, all these things are interconnected, you know. There's Katha in Kirtan, there's Kirtan in Katha, right? There's Seva in Jap, and there's Jap and Seva. It's actually all the same, you know. It's just we kind of categorize it, but that's okay. At the very beginning, you need to categorize it. You need to find out which field you fit into. But eventually, they kind of become intertwined, you know, for a Sikh. So I think it's beautiful how you said that. Do it now, you know. Aaj kare, kabhi ji says, do it today, you know. Like, don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till next moment, right? Because you never know when your mind will change, you know. This mind sometimes takes you so high, you know. Kabahu jira oop chadta hai. Sometimes it just says, you know what, today, like we began off by saying, I want to do Sukhmani Sahibs, I want to do this today, I want to, and then kabahu jaye peyale. And then sometimes his mind just goes all the way to empty bottoms where you're just like, I don't want to do anything today. You know, we're a deen to this mind. We're like, you know, we said it before, as we're in the pinjara of this mind. The mind says, we do. You know, there's one point in Dasam Gurbani, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj says that the mind is my guru. The mind is my guru. Why? Because I have to, if the guru just says, go to the Gurudwara, like you guys went to the Guruka today, the mind said it, right? Like the mind is like, all right, or even if Imaz gives us a Hukamnama, my first check-in with our mind is like, yeah, all right, let's do this. Let's not do it, right? The more we train that mind to say yes to the Hukamnama, and that can only come the way you said it, is certain like muscle memory. Ma said it, do it right now, you know. This is the Kathawachik says ke naam di gal chal rahi hai, right away just say Vaheguru, Vaheguru, listening. Kirtan vich naam di gal rahi, Vaheguru, Vaheguru. Get your surti in there, you know, get your surti absorbed there all times.
Vaheguru. And to that point, don't be afraid of your guru.
Yeah.
How blessed are you? You're blessed just on the fact that you know who the guru is.
Vaheguru.
Just the fact that you can even know what a Hukamnama is, being able to walk up to Guru Sahib, matha taking to Guru Sahib, it's okay. Stop thinking you're a bad Sikh.
Yeah.
You know, this is the first time in our history that we have been displaced from our roots.
Yeah.
We're in the diaspora now. We're in other cultures. We're growing up American, Canadian, English. So obviously it's going to be really tough balancing that Eastern culture, that Western culture, and then like, you know, knowing that you're making mistakes, and because of those mistakes, you're taking steps away from the Guru. No. Guru Sahib would consult and help people that were eating, literally carnivores, like they would eat other people.
Yeah.
You know, they would kill other people.
Yeah.
There was people that were dakus. There were people that were chors. There were, I mean, every type of person. And even in Gurbani, it says, Maharaj, you're someone that saves demons, beasts, rakshas. You're someone that can make a rock float. So I got a binti, just save me too.
Yeah.
Have the humility to know that the Guru does not hate you, regardless of the mistakes you've made.
Yeah, he's nirpo and nirvad, right? Nirvad means kisi na vair nahi karta. Vair to rehta. Vair hi nahi ban sakta toda. He can't be your enemy, right? So what is he? He's your friend. Right?
Yeah.
And he can only actually be your friend if we create that relationship with that being, you know?
You can't fall in love with someone you don't know.
Ji.
You have to take the time to actually, you know, I'm going to say this and, you know, don't hang me for it, but you have to date the Guru. And what I mean by date the Guru is, oh no! What I mean by that is, you know, you have to listen to their sakhiyan. Get to know them. Sit down with them. You know, hear them. Because at the end of the day, I want to be the bride of my Guru.
Ji.
I want to be his wife.
Ji.
Of Akal Purkhs. You know, this is how it says it in Barney as well. And so when you're falling into that love, it's like constantly like, who were you? How do I fall in love with someone I don't know?
Ji.
But one of the things is you can say like, hey, I heard you're God. I'm going through this thing. Do you have any advice? The same way we ask a best friend, a mother, a father, you know, our brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
We turn to Maharaj and we say, you're my mata, you're my pita, you're my best friend, you're my sahai.
Yeah. Jithe har aradhiye, tithe har mit sahai. That friend Mit means mitr. You know, that wherever you remember him, that friend will come and save you.
Vaheguru.
If we could be in hell, we can be in heaven, we can be in between, wherever we might be. If we remember that creator, remember that Paramatma, Parameshwar, Vaheguru ji, that moment they come and rescue us. So, Bhai Sahib ji, bahut vadiya lagya. Really enjoyed talking to you, and hope to see you in the next one.
Yeah, same. All right, thank you, Viji. Vaheguru ji ka khalsa, Vaheguru ji ki fateh.